I see you standing there, clutching your exhaustion like a shield, pretending that the world has drained you when, in reality, you are the one holding the plug. You tell yourself you are tired of everything, but what you truly mean is that you are tired of the elaborate lie you maintain to avoid the trauma of actually existing. Your fatigue is not a result of overwork or a cruel environment. It is the friction caused by your own will grinding against the cage you built for it. You have paralyzed yourself with a false sense of duty to others, or to a past version of yourself, because moving forward requires a psychological birth, and birth is always violent, bloody, and terrifying. The truth you evade is that this tiredness is a choice. It is the most convenient excuse in your arsenal because it allows you to remain passive while claiming you want to be active. You aren't a victim of circumstances. You are the architect of a prison made of "I can't," designed specifically to protect you from the crushing responsibility of saying, "I will." 1. The cowardice of chronic fatigue. I watch how you move through your days, dragging your feet as if the air itself were made of lead, convinced that life is happening to you. This exhaustion you feel is actually a high-functioning defense mechanism designed to keep you from having to exert your will in any direction that matters. By staying tired, you grant yourself a permanent hall pass from the risks of self-assertion, ensuring that no one, including yourself, can expect greatness from you. You use your burnout as a cloak to hide the fact that you are terrified of the light. If you were truly energized, you would have to face the terrifying vacuum of your own potential, and that is far more frightening than being sleepy. I see you choosing the pillow over the project, because the pillow doesn't judge your failures, whereas the project demands you prove your right to exist. This state of depletion is your way of staying in the womb of the known, refusing to be born into the cold reality of individual choice. You would rather feel heavy and dull than feel the sharp, piercing pain of a decision that might alienate those around you. Your body is heavy because your soul is trying to anchor itself in a harbor it outgrew a decade ago. I know that you think your lack of energy is a medical or spiritual mystery, but it is actually a very precise calculation. You are spending 90% of your internal fuel just to suppress your own desires, leaving only 10% for the world to see. It takes an incredible amount of strength to keep yourself this weak, and that is the ultimate irony of your situation. You complain about being drained by people and tasks, yet you are the one who handed them the straws. You allow them to suck you dry so that you have a valid reason to stay exactly where you are, stuck in the mud of mediocrity. It is easier to be a martyr than it is to be a creator, because a martyr only needs to suffer, while a creator must act. Stop looking for a vitamin or a vacation to fix what is essentially a strike of the will. No amount of sleep can cure a soul that is tired of hiding from its own power. You are not overworked. You are underlived, and that internal void is what is consuming your vitality. I see your secret relief when you get to cancel plans or miss a deadline because you're just so tired. That relief is the smell of a dying will, a small victory for the part of you that wants to return to the nothingness of the unconscious. You are winning a war against your own life, and you are celebrating the casualties. Every time you sigh and say you don't have it in you, you are lying to the person in the mirror. You have an ocean of energy locked behind a dam of fear, and you are terrified that if you let it flow, it will wash away the fragile, safe identity you've constructed. You prefer the drought to the flood. I am telling you that this fatigue is a mask for your fear of living. You are holding your breath and wondering why you feel faint. You are refusing to step and wondering why the path isn't moving beneath you. The heaviness you feel is the weight of the self you refuse to become. If you truly wanted to be rested, you would stop fighting your own potential. The moment you stop suppressing your will to suit the expectations of the herd, the fatigue will vanish like a ghost in the sun. But you aren't ready for that yet, because being tired is the only thing that makes your stagnation look like a tragedy instead of a choice. 2. The guilt of the unlived life. I observe your internal ledger, and it is overflowing with a debt you can never pay. The debt to the self you have betrayed. Every time you feel that sudden, sharp pang of anxiety in the middle of a quiet moment, that is the unlived life screaming for air. You feel guilty not because you've done something wrong, but because you are failing to do the one thing that matters: becoming an individual. This guilt is a phantom that follows you because you have sacrificed your own creative will on the altar of being a good person. You think that by pleasing everyone else, you are fulfilling a moral duty. But I see it for what it is: a desperate attempt to avoid the guilt of separation. To be yourself, you must be willing to stand alone, and that isolation feels like a death sentence to you. You are haunted by the possibilities you've strangled in their sleep, those hobbies you don't have time for, those words you shouldn't say, those risks you can't afford. They don't just disappear. They rot inside you and turn into a poisonous resentment. You look at others who are living boldly, and you feel a bitter sting, which you disguise as moral superiority. I see you trying to buy off this guilt with small, meaningless acts of productivity. You clean the house, you answer emails, you perform the rituals of adulthood. But the knot in your stomach remains. It remains because those things are distractions from the primary task of psychological birth. You are afraid that if you truly asserted your will, you would be selfish. I am here to tell you that your current selflessness is actually the ultimate form of egoism. It is a way to control how others see you, so you never have to face their rejection. You are trading your soul for a favorable reputation, and the exchange is making you sick. The pressure you feel in your chest is the pressure of a reality that is trying to manifest through you, which you are blocking with your own body. Steve, you are a dam holding back a river, and you wonder why your walls are cracking. The guilt is the water seeping through the fissures, reminding you that the river doesn't care about your excuses. I know you think you are waiting for permission to finally start living for yourself. Who do you think is going to give it? The people who benefit from your compliance? The society that needs you to be a predictable cog? No one is coming to knight you. You must seize the sword yourself and deal with the blood on your hands. This is the central conflict: the fear of life versus the fear of death. By refusing to live fully, you think you are cheating death, but you are actually just experiencing a slow, agonizing expiration. You are a ghost in a living body, haunting your own potential because you're too afraid of the sin of being unique. Every no you say to your own heart is a yes to your own destruction. You are committing a slow-motion suicide and calling it patience or responsibility. The guilt will never leave you until you realize that your primary obligation is not to your parents, your partner, or your peers, but to the creative force that resides within you. Stop apologizing for wanting more. The discomfort you feel right now is the only honest thing about you. It is the part of you that still remembers you were meant to be a creator, not just a consumer of other people's expectations. 3. Creating the illusion of helplessness. I see you weaving a complex web of circumstances to explain why your life is at a standstill. You talk about the economy, your upbringing, your lack of resources, and your bad luck as if they were solid brick walls, rather than the shadows they actually are. You have become a master at creating a reality where you are the only one without a key, conveniently ignoring that you are also the locksmith. This helplessness is a strategic retreat. If you are truly stuck, then you don't have to blame yourself for your lack of progress. I see you looking for experts, gurus, and signs from the universe, hoping someone will tell you exactly what to do so that if it fails, it isn't your fault. You are terrified of the total responsibility that comes with being a free agent. You pretend that you are searching for a way out, but you are actually searching for a more comfortable cage. You want the benefits of a transformed life without the agony of the transformation process. You want to be found without ever having to admit that you chose to get lost in the first place. I watch you sabotage your own opportunities just as they reach the point of no return. The moment a door opens, you find a reason why it's the wrong door, or why you're not ready yet. This isn't caution. It's a desperate attempt to stay in the familiar territory of your own discontent. Discontent is safe. Success is a leap into the dark. Your problems are actually your most prized possessions. They give you an identity, something to talk about, and a shield against the demands of the world. Without your struggle, who would you be? You are afraid that underneath the drama of your helplessness, there is nothing but a vacuum you are too lazy to fill. I see you projecting your own power onto others. You think your boss, your spouse, or your government holds the remote control to your happiness. This is a lie you tell yourself to avoid the realization that you have been holding the remote the entire time. But you're too afraid to change the channel. You have built a reality where your will is invisible. You act as if your decisions are merely reactions to what others do. This is a psychological trick to keep you from feeling the weight of your own agency. If you didn't choose it, you don't have to own it. But the leak in your unconscious is showing. You forget appointments. You accidentally offend people you need. You get sick at the exact moment you were supposed to shine. These are not accidents. These are the manifestations of a will that is tired of being ignored. Your soul is trying to wreck your safe life because it knows that safety is a tomb. You are the one writing the script where the hero never wins. You enjoy the tragedy because it's easier to be a tragic figure than a triumphant one. Triumph requires a sustained assertion of the will that you are simply unwilling to provide. Break the mirror of your excuses. The world isn't holding you back. You are holding the world back from seeing who you are. You have created a reality of lack to avoid the reality of risk. You are not trapped by the world. You are trapped by the version of the world you insisted on building to keep yourself small. 4. The terror of individuation. I watch you recoil at the thought of truly standing alone. You crave connection and belonging, but what you're actually seeking is a way to dissolve your individuality so you don't have to carry the burden of yourself. You want to be part of the herd because the herd doesn't have to make individual choices. It only has to follow the pulse of the collective. This fear of being an I is what keeps you stuck in toxic cycles. You would rather be miserable with someone else than be powerful by yourself. You use your relationships as a narcotic to numb the sharp edges of your own personality, hoping that by blending in, you can escape the notice of the gods of fate. The process of becoming an individual, psychological birth, is the most painful thing a human can undergo. It requires you to sever the umbilical cord of approval that ties you to society. I see you hovering near the scissors, trembling, and then putting them back down because the thought of the cold makes you run back to the warmth of the womb. You are terrified that if you show your true face, you will be rejected. And you are right. You will be. But what you don't understand is that the rejection of the crowd is the only true proof that you have finally become someone. As long as everyone likes you, you don't exist. You are just a mirror reflecting back what they want to see. I see you hiding your will to power under a mask of humility. You pretend to be modest, but it's just a way to avoid the target that gets painted on your back when you stand tall. You are a tall poppy that has spent its whole life trying to look like grass, and you wonder why you feel like you're suffocating. This is the fear of life I speak of. It is the fear that if you actually stepped into your own reality, it would be too much for you to handle. You think you are fragile, so you live a fragile life. But your fragility is a performance. You are actually incredibly strong. It takes massive strength to suppress a human soul for decades. You look for soulmates and communities to complete you, not realizing that two half people only create a larger, more complicated void. You cannot connect with another until you have first connected with the terrifying reality of your own isolation. You are running from the loneliness that is the prerequisite for all true creation. Your insistence on being understood is another trap. You want others to validate your existence so you don't have to validate it yourself. If someone else gets you, then you feel safe. But the most important parts of you are exactly the parts that cannot be understood by others. Those are the parts that belong to you alone. Stop trying to bridge the gap between yourself and the world. The gap is where your power lives. The space between who you are and who they want you to be is the only place where you can actually breathe. You are trying to close that space, and in doing so, you are strangling your own individuality. Birth is a lonely act. No one can do it for you, and no one can hold your hand while it happens. You are currently in the birth canal, screaming because it's tight and dark, and you're trying to crawl back into the womb. But there is no back. There is only forward, into the light of your own terrifying autonomy. 5. The will as the only truth. I see you looking for the meaning of life in books, in stars, and in the words of others, as if meaning were something you find under a rock. Meaning is not found. It is willed into existence. Your reality is not a discovery. It is a creation. And the only reason your life feels meaningless is that you have refused to exercise your creative will. You act as if you are a passenger in your own mind, watching thoughts and feelings pass by. You are not the passenger. You are the driver who has fallen asleep at the wheel and is now complaining about where the car is going. Every "I can't" that crosses your lips is a deliberate act of sabotage against your own creative capacity. The unconscious you fear is not a monster. It is just the graveyard of all the wills you never exerted. It is the storage room for every yes you turned into a maybe, and every now you turned into a later. You are haunted by your own potential energy because you refuse to turn it into kinetic action. I know you think you need clarity before you can act. This is a lie. Clarity is the reward for action, not the prerequisite for it. You want to see the whole map before you take a step, but the map only reveals itself as you walk. By standing still, you ensure that the map remains blank, which you then use as an excuse to keep standing still. Your will is the only thing that is truly yours. Everything else, your body, your reputation, your possessions, can be taken away. But your ability to say, "I am" and "I will" is the core of your being. And yet, It is the one thing you are most eager to give away to the first person who offers you a bit of comfort. You are currently creating a reality of tiredness and stagnation, because on some deep level, that is what you have willed. You have decided that the pain of being a failure is more tolerable than the pain of being a vulnerable, striving individual. You are getting exactly what you want, a life where nothing is at stake. I see the flicker of fire in you every now and then, a moment of anger, a spark of desire, a sudden urge to break everything. Do not suppress that. That is your will trying to break through the concrete of your polite personality. That anger is the most honest thing about you because it is the part of you that refuses to be buried. You are the only one who can rebirth yourself. This requires a total break from the person you have been pretending to be. It requires you to look at your exhaustion, your guilt, and your fear, and realize that they are all tools you have used to carve out a very small, very safe, and very dead life. The world does not need more tired people. It needs people who have had the courage to face the abyss of their own freedom and decide to build something there anyway. You are waiting for a sign, but you are the sign. Your existence is the only permission you will ever get. Now look at the life you have built. Look at the walls, the routines, the excuses. Realize that every single brick was placed there by your own hand. And realize that the same hand that built the prison has the power to tear it down. The only question is, do you actually want to be free? Or do you just want to talk about how much you hate your cage? You have spent your entire life avoiding the trauma of birth, trying to stay safe in a world that demands you be bold. You are not tired of life, still you are tired of the exhausting effort of pretending you aren't the one in charge of it. Decide now. Either continue to wither in the shadow of your own fear, or have the courage to assert your will and finally, for the first time, truly exist.